Hey everyone, a major warming trend is expected this week, with temperatures much warmer than we've seen all winter going all the way back to December. We're also going to see a significant shift in the weather pattern. While conditions are currently quiet, things will turn much more active as we enter March, potentially bringing severe weather outbreaks and a heavy snowstorm to parts of the United States as the new month begins. Hey everyone, welcome back to Weather Katwil. And be sure to subscribe to the channel because we have a lot of weather updates coming your way in the next several days. You can count on this channel for the latest, most reliable and accurate weather information. Temperature outlook. Now let's take a look at our temperatures today. Check out the anomalies across the United States and even much of southern Canada. No complaints here. Temperatures are warmer than normal in many areas. In the central U.S., we're seeing widespread 60s across portions of the central and southern plains, with 70s and even 80s in some areas. North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin are still cooler, with highs in the 30s and 40s, but compared to what we've seen this winter, it's a noticeable improvement. Moving west, the northern part of the region remains chilly, though temperatures are warmer than they have been. If you're hoping for milder conditions, this is a step in the right direction. Southern California, Southern Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico will see widespread highs in the 80s this afternoon. Now, looking at the eastern U.S., a dense snowpack still covers parts of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and upstate New York. As a result, temperatures there will be held down in the 30s, with some areas reaching the mid-30s at best. However, the snowpack will begin to shrink by a few inches this afternoon. Meanwhile, areas free of snow, such as the lower Ohio River Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, the Southeast, and Florida, will see widespread highs in the 50s, 60s, and even 70s. Why is it getting warmer? The reason for this warming trend is a large ridge of high pressure over the western U.S., promoting warmer temperatures. Meanwhile, troughs marked in blue on weather maps indicate active weather and cooler than normal temperatures. The polar vortex is currently positioned far to the north near Greenland and the Arctic. Looking at temperature anomalies for the rest of this week, we see today's warmer air continuing into tomorrow. By Tuesday, the 50 and 60 degree temperature lines will shift even farther north into the Midwest and northern plains. As we move into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the warming trend persists, with Friday potentially being the warmest day of the week. Some areas could even break record highs, storms this week. Now, let's talk about our ridge placement, which plays a crucial role in the storm track. A trough is present over the Northeast Pacific, while the apex of the ridge directs the storm track from northwest to southeast, starting in southern Canada, moving into the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and Ohio Valley, before turning up into the northeast. This pattern is well represented on our precipitation anomaly map, showing active weather with green and blue shading over the western coastline of Canada, including Yukon and British Columbia, and parts of southern Canada. Meanwhile, much of the northern U.S. will see increased precipitation. However, Dixie Alley and the southeast will remain relatively dry under the ridge's influence, with the exception of wetter conditions in southern and central Florida, which could even bring some severe weather today. Today's weather for today, we have some light snowfall over portions of Hudson Bay, eastern Ontario, and Quebec, while rainfall spreads across Florida, a rare gray day for the Sunshine State. Across the Pacific Northwest, precipitation will develop throughout the afternoon. By Tuesday, the rainfall in Florida will linger into the morning, making for a wet start to the day. Meanwhile, unsettled weather will persist across the northern U.S., but Dixie Alley and the Deep South will remain dry for most of the week. By Wednesday, rain or snow may impact Chicago, with precipitation spreading into the Northeast by Thursday. Cities like Detroit, Indianapolis, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh, along with parts of Maine, could see rain or snow later in the week. On Friday, another strong clipper system will bring rain and or snow showers, dropping from Manitoba into Ontario, following the established northwest to southeast storm track. rain and snow for the Great Lakes region. Most of the precipitation in the Great Lakes region will be rain, but some snow is possible in the upper peninsula of Michigan, where colder air remains trapped further north. We are also watching the potential for isolated strong to severe storms. I want to emphasize no severe weather outbreak is expected. However, there is a possibility of isolated tornadoes in southern Florida and the Florida Keys. Thunderstorms are also likely across South Dakota, southern Minnesota, Iowa, and western Illinois today, but these will mostly be garden variety storms, not severe. In the Pacific Northwest, a dark green risk zone covers northeastern Oregon, southeastern Washington, and northwestern Idaho. In these areas, we could see gusty winds, small hail, and even a brief isolated tornado. Precipitation trends. Overall, precipitation will be limited across much of the U.S. and especially further south, except for Florida, where 1 to 3 inches of rain is expected in south central areas. Meanwhile, the Gulf Coast states, Texas, and the desert Southwest will remain very dry throughout the week. In contrast, the Pacific Northwest, including Seattle, Portland, Eugene, and Medford, along with northwestern California, will receive significant rainfall. Following the northwest storm track, some of this precipitation will fall as snow across parts of southern Canada, the Great Lakes region, and interior New England, northwest of the I-95 corridor. Snowfall outlook for Canada. Canada's snowfall outlook shows the heaviest snow in coastal Alaska, Yukon, and British Columbia. The mountain ranges in western British Columbia could see over 100 inches of snow this week alone. A separate area of 2 to 6 inches of snow is possible from the Northwest Territories down through Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. Big storm next week. As we move into early March, things get very interesting. The major warming trend will continue, but at the same time, a deep trough will dive into the West Coast and extend into the Four Corners region. This will introduce colder air at both the surface and in the upper atmosphere, setting the stage for potentially hazardous weather. Flooding and heavy rain concerns. Unfortunately, this storm system could bring more precipitation to already saturated areas, including Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas, which recently experienced devastating flooding. While California could benefit from additional moisture, we'll be closely monitoring the trough's positioning, as this could increase the risk of severe weather. Potential severe weather outbreak. The early March 4th timeframe is looking particularly concerning. The European model shows an amplified jet stream at 500 millibars, which could result in 2 main impacts: heavy snowstorms in the northern U.S., a strong low-pressure system potentially producing an ice storm in its central track, severe weather in the south fueled by warm, moist, unstable air, leading to heavy rain, tornadoes, and flash flooding. Comparing the European and GFS models. The European model keeps the system suppressed farther south with a more severe weather-focused setup. This scenario would bring severe storms to Arkansas, eastern Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee, with flooding risks in Kentucky and light snow in Ontario and Montreal later in the week. The GFS model, on the other hand, places the storm farther north, increasing the likelihood of severe weather in western Illinois, northern Missouri, and Arkansas. This scenario would produce damaging winds, tornadoes, and hail, while the northern U.S. could see a significant winter storm impacting Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, and Lincoln, Nebraska. Saturday and Sunday. Back over in the Southwest this weekend, the system does not appear to be causing any major problems for most of the United States. However, it may be something to watch early next week in the southern plains, where there could be an isolated severe weather risk. Overall, we're just expecting some showers and a few isolated thunderstorms. This system is not expected to produce snow. However, the system that has a much better chance of bringing both severe weather and possibly even the return of a significant winter storm is expected to develop by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. A large-scale trough is likely to move over the Rocky Mountains from Monday into Tuesday, accompanied by a strong jet stream. This system will be more aligned with the polar jet stream, which means we'll see increased mixing of cold and warm air. As a result, we should expect a couple of key impacts. First, there is the potential for snowfall in and around the low-pressure center. Additionally, this system will likely bring a threat of severe weather across parts of the Southern Plains, Southeast, and the Ohio Valley. Keep in mind that this event is still about 8 to 10 days away, and while details will change, confidence is growing that we will see a large storm system within the first week of March. In fact, we could even see multiple large storms impacting the United States during this time frame. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and we'll keep you updated with the latest information on these developing storm systems. Breaking it down with future radar, let's simplify things by looking at the future radar for the next few days. Today, showers and thunderstorms are moving into Florida throughout the day, bringing significant rainfall. There is a risk of an isolated tornado along the west coast of Florida, primarily south of Tampa, later this afternoon. Even the Florida Keys could see some storm activity. A few waterspouts may also develop offshore. I'll discuss that in more detail shortly. Midwest and Canada. Meanwhile, parts of the Midwest and Canada are experiencing snowfall. Most of the snow is concentrated in Canada, with minimal accumulation left in the Midwest as the bulk of the moisture remains to the north. Tuesday morning, a small amount of snow and rain will move into the northeast as the backside of an Alberta clipper sweeps through. However, no significant snowfall accumulation is expected, just some light snow. Wednesday and beyond, another Alberta clipper will track across the Great Lakes and Northeast on Wednesday. By Thursday and Friday, yet another system will move through the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast, bringing additional snow and rain. However, none of these clippers appear strong enough to produce winter storm conditions. Most areas will see only light to moderate snowfall, with accumulations generally staying under 3 to 4 inches. Stay safe, everyone. I'll be back with another update tomorrow. We could see another major snowstorm in early March, so stay tuned.